Hello guys. Welcome to the Banter Blitz yet again. I'm here to play several games against you and hopefully teach you something about this game, our favorite game of chess. I hope that everything is going to be fine. From a technical point of view, it should be alright, at least on my end right now. There is no problem. So let's start playing chess. I can see a lot of guys already here on chat, so that is great. All right, so let me activate the list of challenges. So Der Hanker says video audio fine, thanks a lot. Let me see if we have somebody I've never ever played before. Just as usual, I'm going to start with several games against these people. For example, here is Jester Geese or Gester Geese, I don't know, from Colombia, and we have never played, so I'll accept that challenge. It's a 3-minute challenge, by the way, so guys, I usually prefer playing 5-minute games because in that case I can explain more, I have a bit more time. So if you don't mind, just challenge me for a 5-minute game if you have a chance. Okay, so I have accepted the challenge and I'm waiting for Black's response. Here we go. E4, D6. So the question on Twitch, with or without increment? Well, actually, whatever you want. So 5 minutes without increment is just fine. If you want to add some seconds for each move, I'm also okay with that. All right, so what do we have here? We have the modern defense, I believe, and this way is very strange. I mean, now G6 is super weak, and diagonal A2J as well. Oh, I don't know. I mean, this looks like a great mistake. What if we just sacrifice something here? Like, what if we play e5, d takes c5, then bishop d3, or just e5, and if d takes c5, something like d5? I mean, should be just lost for black, right? Especially after bishop e6. I mean, how black is going to protect all these weaknesses? Oh my god. That's really strange. Most likely black confused something. Because, you know, after h5, after I played h5, I guess almost everything except for h6 was absolutely playable. Now we have a choice. We can play just queen g4. I believe we can also play e6, and if bishop takes, then bishop takes g6. Looks also great. I mean, I don't see anything against that, so I'll just play that move. So we get to g6, right? Easily. If king d7, then d5 wins the game instantly. Bishop is trapped. Yeah, disaster. Just a disaster for black here. Okay, it doesn't help because d5 is protected anyway. So in addition to all these advantages, I mean, controlling light squares and stuff, now we will have extra minor piece. Okay. Knight f6. Okay, let's just take the bishop. King takes. Where is my checkmate? Don't see it. I don't care. I will just keep on developing pieces here. All right. It's a rare case when you get a position like this, to be honest. Right from the start. Just a great luck. So queen to e6, right? Just preparing bishop to g6 with the checkmate on f7, playing on light squares because we got the light squared bishop, and we should use this advantage somehow. So Der Hanger says, that's how I like to see it. What do you mean? Have you prepared some beers or what's that? Explain this how. popcorn, stuff like that, I believe. Okay, so it's gonna be not so fast, right? If bishop g6, king goes to d8, there is no checkmate immediately. All right, let's just capture the queen. Let's take another pawn. Greedy approach. Why not? Pair of bishops. I love it. Okay, centralization of the king. Toughness on the board, says Der Henker. Yeah. No fooling around. Okay. So rook is coming to what? To h8, I believe. So what happened? Rook to b8. Should it help somehow? I don't know. So check on g6 doesn't give me what I want. What if I just bring the knight to g6 gradually? Like, all right, king f7 was possible. Missed that. Okay, let's just prepare everything here carefully. It's nice coordination, right? Lots of pieces there. Doing the same stuff, attacking the king. Probably shouldn't think for so long in this situation. I should play a bit faster now because I'm sort of in a time trouble. Of course, it's not a big deal for such a position, but nevertheless. All right, let's just simplify the stuff completely and yeah, finish this somehow. Okay, that was predictable. Let's eliminate the last pawn and then promote this one. Okay, won the game. So that was pretty much expected after black weakened the position that much. So after h5 and h6, I mean, this is already lost. After e5, though, it was probably possible just to take the pawn, in which case black still has some chances, I believe. But I definitely prefer white here because look at this, light squared weaknesses all around the board. So what I was going to play initially, bishop to d3, not sure if it is that clear. For example, if black just captures on d4, I take on g6. Okay, king goes to f8. There is nothing specific, nothing concrete, at least. Maybe d5. So I also mentioned this move during the game. Probably d5 is a bit better. Just, you know, black's pawn structure is damaged, so this extra pawn doesn't really matter, in my opinion. And I have a simple and accessible object of attack on g6, which means my real object of attack is opponent's king here. So it's just very bad position for black. Instead of playing h6, I believe knight to f6 deserved attention. It's a possibility. Another possibility is just to continue with b5, bishop b7 stuff, right? So, I mean, another way to play it is just to play h5 here, stopping me from playing h4, h5. Okay, thanks for the game. Let's have a look at other challenges and search for someone else I've never played before. Do we have someone? It feels like almost everyone has played against me at least one game. And we're searching for someone with no games against me. And yeah, we have one. Mind Gamer. Accept. And we play with black here. All right. So, Mind Gamer, it's your turn. e4, e5, f4. Yeah, toughness on the board, according to Der Henker. So how to react? Let's play d5. e takes f4 is another common option. And the third one is bishop to c5. Three most popular moves here, I believe. So here we can play e4. We can also just grab the pawn, which transposes to e takes f4. Well, some of the lines may reach this position. Not exactly this one, but in a few moves you'll understand what I'm talking about. So now goes to f6. And if bishop goes to c4 and I take on d5, the same position may arise after e takes f4, say knight to f3, d5 takes knight f6. Same stuff. What? d3. No. It's completely wrong. Man, you're playing King's Gambit, right? So you are supposed to be super active, and d3 is just super passive. So exactly the opposite. Completely against the spirit of King's Gambit, completely against the spirit of, development in the opening. So no. Just bishop c4, bishop b5 check, anything. Knight to c3, just develop your pieces on active squares. And this d3, you just, limited your own bishop on f1. Now you put your bishop on d2. So basically, it's not a development because you just changed the position of the bishop from c1 to d2. And d2 is not necessarily that better. So you're wasting time in the opening. That's what I mean. And black should punish white for this somehow. And I would rather do it quickly. But if I play bishop to c5, there is d4. Not necessarily that clear, so I would rather develop this knight first. So there Henker says, mouse sleep. I don't think so. I mean, like bishop d2 after d3, 2 mouse slips in a row. No. It's not a coincidence, I believe. So castling is coming. We're after. What are we going to do? So should I protect that pawn on f4? Should I play knight to e3, kind of giving the pawn back but grabbing the bishop? I think this is an option, a typical one. If we castle simply, knight d5, queen d5, bishop takes f4, do we have something there? Most likely yes. After simple bishop g4 move, it will be super annoying position for white. I mean, I will just castle. I believe knight to e3 is also a move. And just a question of taste, I would say, in this particular case. All right. So, bishop to g4 comes to mind. Candidate move number 1. Another one is bishop to f5, controlling the e4 square. Because if we play bishop g4, there is some like queen to e4. Maybe we should just play rook e8 here, by the way. Also a nice option. Let's try this move. Kind of preparing the jump of the bishop somewhere. Maybe to a3. I don't know. Maybe to c5. For now, I would consider something like bishop to c5. But the rook is under pressure. If I play the bishop move somewhere now, there's queen takes c8, winning the game instantly. So instead of making that mistake, we would just develop the bishop. Now rook a8 joins the fight, protecting rook on e8. Queen takes d5. There is a threat of knight d4 and simultaneously queen to a2. Probably knight takes d5 was not correct. Now white is in trouble, I would say. So what to do here? I mean, give up. Oh, this way. I didn't actually think about this move at all, although it's possible. But maybe it's not that great because it weakens a lot. So let's just step back to d7, protecting the rook. Again, intending to go with the bishop somewhere, maybe to b4, maybe to a3, maybe just to c5 and then to e3. Another threat is still this knight to d4. I guess why shouldn't take on f4, but why doesn't take on f4, then position is just hopeless. Okay, let's just put the bishop on c5, attacking the queen and bringing it to e3 with check, protecting the pawn on f4. Gorgeous position, guys. Amazing. With black pieces. Great. Okay, the start is not so disappointing, but I expected something much worse than this because I'm so tired you cannot even imagine. It was a very hard day for me. But now the things are getting better because I'm winning games, right? It's not the primary goal, but still very pleasant. So a5, the idea may be just to play knight b4. Another one is to play rook a6, rook b6 with the lift to attack b2. Because I was thinking about something like taking the knight, then playing knight to d4, bishop d4, queen to d4. And I noticed that in that case, I'm exerting pressure on b2, and the idea came just to use this rook to bring it to b6 to increase this pressure. We'll see how white reacts to start with. All right, so in this game we have not only the advantage on the board, we have also an advantage on the clock. It's very pleasant stuff. Okay, let's fix the weakness on b2. Next move will be just to take the knight, knight d4 then. Then bishop takes, queen takes, then bring the rook to b file, maybe to b3, another rook to the b file, and win the game gradually. And I don't see what white is going to do in this position. It's just super passive. Okay. Kind of saying, you're welcome, do what you want, right? Now knight to d4. Queen to d4. And we have famous pattern here. So opposite colored bishops in the middle game. So the one who starts the attack wins. And I don't see how white is going to start the attack. Bishop is just completely out of play. And I see how I can start my attack. It's super easy. Rook a6, rook b6. Then rook to b3. Then rook e6, rook b6 takes on b2, wins. Something like that, right? We'll see. Okay, so this is a bit annoying, but not that it stops me from doing what I want, right? So I just step back for now, and then play rook b6, rook b3. And then I will come back to d4 at some point. Maybe I will even occupy that square with the bishop, if it's needed. Okay, let's put the rook on b6. Everything according to the plan. Yeah, white resigned. The game is absolutely lost. And, well, the problem started right after d3 move. That's not the right one. Instead of doing that, you should play either d4 or bishop to c4. Bishop to c4 is the main line, followed by quick castling, trying to bring the rook to the e file to attack my king. Okay, next one. So one more against the one I've never ever played before. So here is Bochev Chess Lab from Bulgaria. Let's play. Accept. 5-minute game. Great. Playing with black pieces again. Okay, let's repeat. No, there is a closed game now. So we're playing Nimzo Indian, or Queen's Indian, or closed Catalan, depends. If white plays knight to c3, for example, there may be a hybrid variation, which is a mix of Nimzo and Queen's Indian, or bishop g5, it may lead to the same stuff if I play bishop b4, but I just want to wait until white defines the position of the knight. Okay, so white decided not to put the knight on c3, which means whenever I give this check on b4, there is still this knight to d2 possible. Okay, should I even care about that? I don't know. So let's start with the h6, just to check what white is going to do. To go away with the bishop or to take my knight on f6. Okay. So white made his choice. something terrible comes to mind, like bishop b4, and if knight e2, then g5, bishop g3, g4, and knight goes away, knight to e4. Let's check that one. Maybe it works. Like g5, bishop g3, g4. Knight goes away, I believe, and then knight to e4. Could it work? Maybe. I don't know. Let's see. For now, looks just great. So we kick away the defender of the knight in d2, then we bring the knight to e4, attacking it, and I don't see a defense. Maybe I'm just blundering something, but I have no idea. Yeah, knight e5, okay. Knight e4. Doesn't feel like I'm blundering something here. Feels just alright. Extra minor piece, I believe. At very least. Nice, right? So instead of playing knight to d2, it was possible to play knight to c3, just get into the main line with a slight transposition. Now, everything feels just fantastic for black. Olaf says, oof. What do you mean, my friend? Like, ouch? Or what? So, another comment. As a person that knows zero opening theory, this right here is tough from nightmare for me. Well, it's not a nightmare. Look at this. It's just a fairy tale for black. Well, for white it is a nightmare. I do agree. Okay, now, what to do? Just to take with the knight means white will have a 3-move attacking my bishop. Then my knight can jump somewhere, but then, well, I don't know. Do we have something there? Like knight takes d2, a3, then bishop captures on g2, a takes b4, knight goes to f3 check, forcing the king to e2. No, knight f3 is possible as well. So probably just take on d2 with the bishop and go back to b4. Simple as that. No? Let's see. One reason more why I play chess, Fisher random, basically, mainly. Well, it's not about knowing the theory. It's like logically thinking. So the theory is knight to c3. Knight to d2 is not the theory. Just asking yourself a question, what's the problem with that, potentially, and finding the answer. So knight takes d2 or bishop takes d2. That's the question here. I mean, both look okay. For some reason, I want to take with the knight. Maybe it's wrong, but I still win some material. I attack g2 now. Probably bishop takes d2 is better. I was a bit afraid of some like king f1, and then with bishop goes back, some like c5, maybe trying to trap my bishop. I understand it's not good for white anyway, but yeah. Oh, this way. Didn't expect that move at all. So now, which piece to eliminate? Knight takes c4 check, king somewhere. We can take on e5, and then bishop takes on e5. And we have some weaknesses. We can also play just knight to e4 and then take on g3. This is something I feel like the right decision here, because that bishop is potentially very annoying. Because we have some dark square weaknesses here. So I want to grab that one first, and then we will see what to do. Okay, let's take it with check. And now I wanted just to bring my queen to f6. I hope I don't blunder anything right now. So just covering the most critical square g7 at the moment. Also supporting h6 additionally, just in case it's ever a problem. And what's next? Just knight to c6 and castling long, I believe. Extra piece. g2 is hanging, but I don't care about that pawn, to be honest. So the primary goal now is just to complete the development, bring the king to a safe position, and then just convert the piece. Here we go. Here we go. So 13 moves. White has lost position, but still some tricks. Knight takes f7 doesn't work, by the way. If I take with the queen, there's bishop g6, but I can take with the king, and everything is just all right. So knight to c6, right? Everything according to the plan. Knight takes f7, still take with the king. Don't see anything for white. f5 is under control, g6 is under control, so white cannot really do anything here. And I'm going just to castle. Next move. Oh, d5, giving me another piece. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Queen is hanging, bishop is under pressure. Now it's definitely lost. Now we have extra, what? Extra rook and minor piece. Fantastic. Now we have 2 extra rooks and minor piece. Well, I can take the rook. And hell, I will take the rook. Why not? ED5 was possible, but why should I calculate anything if there is just a rook? So my opponent has too many blunders for game. Yes, but the first one was not so obvious, I believe. This g5, g4. By the way, what's interesting, here if you play a3 counterattack and I have bishop d2 check, so it doesn't save a piece. And after bishop to g3, when I play g4, again, this move comes to mind. But then I take here, and if you take my bishop, I take there. So again, I win the material. So it feels like knight d2 is just a mistake already. So knight to c3 should be played here. And then after g5, bishop g3, and knight to e4, we enter one of the main lines here. So queen c2, something like captures, d6, bishop d3, f5, d5. Very complicated theory, but white is usually doing okay here. I mean, probably even playing for a win. Let's go on. Let's see, what do we have here? That was a third game, right? So we just get back to the normal order of challenges, and Carlson Super Light was the first challenger this time. Let's accept that one. Here we go with white. e4. Open games exclusively. I mean, if I play white, I play e4. It's a very, very rare case when I play something else. Let's go. So if you're wondering how I managed to quickly find this idea with g5, g4, well, in the main line after knight c3, black plays g5 and then knight to e4. Here, playing knight to e4 made no sense because it was not a tempo move, and I noticed that, yes, I have this threat of g4 after that, but then a3 comes and I have to exchange the pieces. So I decided just to change the move order. So what if I start with g4 and then bring the knight to e4 with the tempo, and I noticed there is no defense. So that's how I made that decision. What do we have here? Black tried to play Hanem variation, if I remember correctly the name of that line. So like if you play knight c3, then e5, knight f3, knight to d7, and we have this variation. I usually call it just a closed Philidor, because if we consider just normal Philidor order of moves like e4, e5, knight f3, and d6, then after d4 there are two options to play knight d7, which is not considered good in that position, or taken on d4. So I used to play Philidor myself, and I usually played open Philidor, or semi-closed or semi-open Philidor, literally just taken on d4 with the e5 pawn. Okay, but here we have Pertz. Right. So Bochev said, my first banter with white. Terrible. I mean, it's the first time you play with white pieces against a Banter Blitzer. Or what does it mean, my first banter with white? Or it's just your very first Banter Blitz game? The question, what do you think about the French? I think it's an interesting opening. Worth playing with both colors. I don't like it from black's perspective, for example, but it's just my preference. It doesn't mean that it's bad. You can check the database. There are so many great players preferring this opening to others. So at least you will learn a lot playing it with white and with black. So positions with pawn chains, for instance, typical plans, typical maneuvers, and stuff. Well, what's going on here? I mean, it's super unusual how black handles this position. Too many light squared weaknesses now. But we no longer have a light squared bishop, which is slightly annoying. But probably I don't care. So let's try this move. Just h4 with the idea of just h5 with just the attack. So Carlson super light is considered something. h5, okay, that was the choice to stop me from playing h5 with this move, weaken in g5, or just to give me a chance to do that. Yeah. All right, so normally when I see something like this, I tend to occupy g5 with the knight. Because from there, the knight will create threats to f7, and whenever black plays with the f-pawn somewhere, or for some reason, I don't know, black is forced to do that, or this pawn just disappears, e6 becomes weak, and the knight is there to occupy it. Of course, with the light squared bishop, it's a bit more interesting. So just imagine if you have the knight on g5 already, you can play bishop c4, attacking that pawn, have lots of interesting ideas there, including some nice combinations. Not simple here, but it's still possible, I guess. So queen d7, what's the idea? Black probably wants to do what? To castle, and then to play king b7 or something. Should I stop black from doing that? Or should I just play queen e2 for now? For some reason, I want to make this move. If knight goes to b8, then black doesn't castle long for some time. And if black castles short, there is g4, so queen on e2 is also not so stupid. Just supporting that move, right? Okay, here what I wanted to do. I wanted to play this. And then castle. So at some point I want to play d5. Maybe just next move. Takes. Maybe it doesn't give me anything, so probably I will wait a bit. So we have some, light squared targets here. We can bring the queen over to a6, maybe to c4. a6 looks nice after king b8, knight b5. Intending to play d5. And if queen goes to c8, then f7 drops. Yeah, this looks amazing. Let's do it. So check. Super simple, by the way. Then knight to b5, intending d5. Black plays queen c8, then f7 drops. Black plays d5, then we play e5 first, and then we can continue with the rook d3, rook c3, something like that. Yeah. Maybe not even e5. Maybe I should have played rook d3 and rook c3 immediately. I don't know, but we will see. Right now it's clear that black has to play something like knight g8. I don't see anything better. The idea is to bring the knight to e7 to support the knight on c6 and to have this knight to c8 just in case it's needed. Yeah, position is no longer so simple, but we can notice that if knight goes to e7, I can take on f7, so there is a problem with the coordination in black's camp. So the question is, does black have enough time to accomplish this maneuver? I think the next move will be something like rook f8 to play knight to e7. And if I play rook d3, black is just in time, right? So rook d3, rook f8, rook to c3, knight to e7. Everything is under control. Do I have something more straightforward and efficient? Something like c4 here, takes, d5, takes. What's next? I don't see anything there. Not so simple stuff. Maybe we should just play a4, a5, but it's super risky for white. I don't know. Just rook d3 for now. Let's see. Maybe we can bring the rook to what? Is it possible? No, I don't think it's a good idea. Because now just rook c3, direct threat of taking on c6. So I thought black had to play some like rook to f8 to protect the pawn. Because now if black plays knight e7, they just take on f7 and win the game. Maybe rook c6 is not even a threat. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not. But anyway, this position is super annoying for black. It should be, at least. Yeah, in this case I can take it. That's the huge difference. Because if queen takes, I take the knight. If knight takes, it's just a checkmate in 2. Now it's over for black. Yeah. So as I said, the only move here was, well, the only move I considered was rook to f8, protecting f7, and after rook c3, just knight to e7. In time. f7 is protected, knight is protected, and knight to c8. So the question, but what's the problem with rook to c6? There is no problem with the rook to c6, I think. At least there is no direct threat, maybe, but it's just at some point may become a problem. For now, the question is, what is the useful move black can make? Maybe it was still possible, though, to continue with the rook to f8, right? Preparing knight to e7. Maybe there is no threat. Maybe I overestimated my attack. Because if rook takes c6, queen c6, and queen a7, you're right, just king c8. So what's next? Knight to d6 just takes on d6. I definitely need my second rook somewhere around, but it's far away. So maybe I'm missing something here, but it doesn't look clear to me. Yeah, I do have compensation here, and I would probably prefer white even in this position, but it's far from being clear. Okay, so yeah, that was probably still playable here. And I don't know, maybe I missed something here. Yes, I did miss something here. So why didn't I play bishop f4? Attacking c7. This looks much more promising than e5. My bishop is still active and just participates in the attack, right? And now, if, for example, black protects the pawn this way, my plan with rook d3, rook c3 becomes a real problem because queen a7 will be a checkmate, right? So even though black can take here, well, first of all, it's not hanging, so I can recapture if I want. It's not even a threat, right? I don't understand why didn't I play bishop f4. I missed such a great resource. To knight e8, I mean, this knight is very bad, right? Obviously. And it no longer comes to e7 to protect the knight on c6, which means we can play what? Something like rook to d3 now, and then rook to c3. Yeah, bishop f4, obviously. Okay, the next one is Shellin forward, and oh my god, Shellin has 53, and I'm in a so bad shape to play against him, but I will try my best, at least to have a decent game. I definitely have to train a lot now before playing Shellin forward, because, you know, it's hard. Very strong opponent, an expert in Carlson. So God, I don't know. '96 was terrible answering the question. The pawn structure is just very bad there. Okay, so one of the theoretical lines, I would say. White doesn't get anything specific here, but I mean, the idea is just to go away from main lines and to have normal position, playable one. Here we go. So we want to play f3 now. Next move. Now we have pair of bishops. Again, not necessarily a great advantage, but I like bishops. You know me. It's not a secret, basically. So now, to play g3 or just knight to f3? Let's play knight to f3. h6. Okay. Natural move. It's like a Carlsbad pawn structure, but reversed. So everything that is true for Carlsbad, I think, is also applicable here. Let's just bring the knight to e5 then. That's what you play, and Carlsbad was black. All right. Now it starts looking very good. Can we play something super aggressive? Like bishop h6, queen f3, or maybe queen f3 immediately. No, I don't think so. We should just continue with the development, I guess. So bishop f4 first, protecting the knight on e5. And now we can bring the queen to f3. Because e5 is protected, queen is 3. So we may think of playing something like queen to g3. For now, maybe bishop to h6 is a threat. And I start, well, loving this position. Knight to d7, okay. So now I have a strange feeling that bishop h6 may be playable, but it's probably too much. It's probably just too much, but queen to g3 still looks pretty promising to me. So I'll play this move. Why not? We have bishop h6 threat. If king goes to h8, we have knight f7 followed by bishop d6 or knight g6 followed by that move I have already mentioned. So let's just play this position now with two bishops against two knights and some attacking perspectives on the king side, right? Andrey, is Dutch defense a great defense or the greatest defense? Just two options. If only just two options, then it is great. So now, as an optimist, I would say that bishop h6 should work here, followed by, say, queen f4 or queen h4, and then the rook lift. But as a realist, I'm not fucking sure. Sorry. So does it work? Or it doesn't? Feels like Pekin is a bit abandoned. At the same time, feels like I don't have enough attacking resources. Let's calculate. So takes, queen h4, king g7, rook to e3 or something. Knight takes e5, rook to g3, knight to g6. So what? I don't have anything. So I have a perpetual, obviously, but do I want a perpetual? I don't want a perpetual. I want something more. I'm probably missing something, which is terrible. Maybe I should just play queen h3 and then take on h6. Or maybe just queen e3 with the same idea, just taking on h6 at some point. Queen is not handing because I was talking about rook to g3. All right, I don't have enough time now. Yeah, let's just attack that pawn again. I'll probably regret that I didn't take on h6, but I'm just too tired to calculate everything correctly. Maybe it was the best move. But queen e3 also doesn't look that bad. Okay, I predicted that. I just wanted to go away. I don't want to exchange queens here, of course. So I have two ideas. The one is just to take on h6. Another one is to play some like bishop c2, queen d3, which may be also annoying for black. But yeah, I know. I give black some time now. And some options hence. So now I think I can take on h6, right? The knight captures on e5. Nah. Okay, let's do it. It's more interesting than anything else anyway. Much more interesting. So even if knight takes on e5, we can just go back with the bishop to f4, let's say. And this looks already quite promising. Because black has made lots of weaknesses here. Once again, maybe I'm overestimating my position. So let's remove queen takes d3 because I believe black will capture my bishop. And then what? How to attack? There are different options. Probably we'll just use the power of heavy pieces, just quickly bringing rooks to the game. I should have also tried some like rook e3 against f5 followed by rook h3, so gradually preparing that attack. Okay, who knows what was the best one. So e5 is coming or something. Not so simple stuff here. Let's just play that. So if e5, then queen g5. I mean, I understand that black has a center, but we have some targets too. But only 40 seconds, so let's focus. Okay. Spending too much time. Spending too much time here. Okay, tricky. Tricky, sneaky. Now we have a plan, don't we? That was a bad plan, I guess. But anyway. No. Not so much time on my clock. That's the problem. Only 1 second. I think I'm just losing on time. Yes. Got. That's annoying. I mean, at some point, I thought... Oh, queen to f4. That's correct. Now I see the comment on Twitch. My god, I'm so stupid. Really. There is a difference between queen h4 and queen f4. I was calculating with queen on h4, but... Yes, queen to f4 was the right move. Oh, let's have a look at this position. I mean, yeah, missed that. So takes, queen f4 now, not to h4. Intending queen h6, queen h7, checkmate. I don't think that something like f5 deserves attention because of takes there, then takes on e6 at very least. I have 3 pawns, maybe even 4, and it's lost. Yes. So after bishop takes h6, gh6, queen f4, king to g7, rook to e3, knight to e5 is no longer possible, which means that rook g3 is coming. And what's interesting with the queen on f4, so like f6 or f5 doesn't work at all for black now because I just take on f6 with check and take the queen. I'm so fucking stupid. Not that it is a winning position automatically. For example, there is this move. But it feels so great. But maybe it's not so simple after rook h8, by the way. Again, maybe I'm just too optimistic about that. Don't know. But yeah, the main point is that after king g7, rook e3, knight takes, e5, there is just rook g3, and there is no knight g6 because queen takes queen. All right, but even the way I played, I think I got a very good position. The thing is, I somehow failed to convert it. So. And there was another defense suggested, 97, knight g6, yeah. Okay, so what was correct? Queen e3 looked good. Then queen b6. Taking on h6 here doesn't give us anything serious because of queen e3, bishop e3, and knight e5, so this also looked fine. Maybe after f5, I should have played something else. Maybe bishop takes h6 is a wrong decision. What if we just bring the rook over like that? That's interesting, isn't it? Then another rook to e1 and then rook to g3 or maybe h3, just gradually preparing everything. And if g5, then bishop takes, right? So this doesn't work for sure. Shouldn't work at least. King g7 takes king there. Even here I don't see a checkmate right now. But feels like it's very close, right? Something like bishop f5 maybe comes to mind, followed by e6. Maybe bring another rook to e1. I don't know. This should be very dangerous for white. Of course, all this requires some, good calculation. I just failed to do that. But position looks amazing for white. All right. But even the way I played, I mean, if we look a bit further, even that position is not so bad for white. I mean, it looked very good, very promising. But then something bad happened. Maybe here I made my mistake. Taking with the rook is probably an option, although black has queen e1. That knight on h6 is terrible. Right there. Maybe here I shouldn't have captured, but I was already in a time trouble as well as my opponent, but my opponent had a bit more time on the clock. Yeah, it feels like I missed something somewhere. So rook there, f3, king there. Yeah, it looks not so bad. Yeah, somewhere here. Why didn't I play h5, for example? h5, king f6, rook there. Rook should go to d7, and now it's just a dead pin, right? Just a dead pin, and it's over. So I just can do whatever I want. Black still has this a5, a4 though, but I simply play a3 and I stop anything there. And here I can just play like king h3, g3, king h3, so gradually moving. I don't know. Maybe it's lost, maybe it's not. Okay, it's just too late for this analysis. Thanks for the game. It was a pleasure as usual, except the next one. Really bad. Played like a patzer, after all. What's going on? Why White is playing this? Is it really funny stuff to play this line? I mean, it's not the first time someone is playing something like that against me. A bit strange to me. Anyway. G3. Knight to C6. The question, why give up bishop pair? Because, well, if you have only a few seconds on the clock, it's better to exchange as many pieces as possible because it's easier to navigate through the jungle in that case. And I don't think that my dark square bishop in that case was already, you know, anything serious. Black had this potentially very annoying center. That's why I decided to get rid of it. A3. Okay, let's grab space. Let's grab some space. And then just bishop e6 and bishop d5, for example. Starts looking a bit like an old good game of Botvinnik. So not necessarily the same, but very similar position. Botvinnik against whom? Against Lisitsyn, I believe. Botvinnik was black. There was this sort of Maroczy reversed. And then at some point he played knight d4. Yeah, after some exchanges. He got that position, but he also had a pair of bishops, I guess. Knight to c4, yeah. But what if I just play b5? So the knight goes back, I believe. Oh, knight a5, simply doing this stuff. That's also interesting. Check. Yeah, black has no problems whatsoever. Let's see how to prevent white's activity here. Or maybe we should just play h6. Preventing bishop g5. Maybe intending to play g5, g4 at some point. So we should bring the rook to e8, move the bishop to f8, I think. Another rook can go to c8, then at some point c4. Something like that. Another simple plan within this pawn structure, which looks like a dragon reversed right now, is just to play against e2, for instance. Yeah, just bishop f8, rook e6, another rook to e8. Oh, g5 won a piece. Yeah, you're right. I missed that thing. I didn't expect that white would hand a piece or something. You're right. Koval, Super GM, g5, g4, won a piece. I missed that option. Banter Ostrovskiy. Not the master Ostrovskiy, but the Banter Ostrovskiy. Correct. And now g5 probably wins a piece, or no, now it doesn't. So if g5, there is an intermediate e4 move. It no longer wins anything. This move was good only when the king was on g2. Rook to d8 now. Yeah. Just simple positional chess, but yeah. Sounds stupid after realizing that I could win a piece. And I was actually planning this g5 in general. I was talking about g5, the possibility of g5, and then when it was a real chance to win a piece, I, for some reason, played something else. Lack of focusing, lack of coordination, lack of concentration, lack of everything here. I'm probably still thinking about the previous game. That's typical stuff for me. Well, my position is still good, but once again, I could have been a piece up. Instead, we're just playing, against isolated pawn, preparing knight to d5, blockading it. Maybe at some point, starting this a5 before c3 stuff. Queen f3. Okay. f7 is protected, so I can play knight d5. Queen b7 protects f7. So bad. Too slow. Obviously too weak to die. In general as well. It's a rare case when I really play good chess. Queen e7 maybe, intending f6 or something. Or rook f6, or just bishop d6. Bishop d6 looks not so bad to me. Yeah, let's bring the bishop to d6 first. The knight takes f7 and queen takes d5. That's a blunder. So it doesn't work. Okay. We have clarified that. So probably yes, just queen e7 after all. So if I want to play f6 at some point, maybe it makes sense for me to control g6 so I can play queen to e8 and then f6. But white is going to play h5. I mean, it starts feeling like I completely lost the thread here. What to do in this position. So my plan should be somehow connected with the queen side, right? Maybe I should just start with a5 and c. h5, okay. There are no threats for now. Let's protect the pawn on c4. I want to play before c3, something like that. Just create a passer and promote it. g4. Okay. Don't care. Let's go. Let's go forward. g5 just takes. With bishop g5, I'm going to play f6. Here, just play c3. Everything according to the plan. Okay. Feels like a piece, right? Feels like just an extra piece for nothing. And take c5. Yeah. Finally, I won a piece. I could have done this much earlier. Just g5 and g4. All right. Okay. So, to be honest, I'm not impressed by this d3 move at all. So it's too passive, and then also white just gave me freedom. So here, just play d4, and this could have been like Tarish with the extra tempo for black, but still absolutely normal playable position. Maybe black could have benefited from this, d3, d4 instead of d4 in one move, just like in Tarish, but only to easily equalize, not to play for a win like here. I mean, it's fantastic position. Okay, so let's continue. Let's have a look. Who's next? Mike Goering. Okay, accept the challenge. Black pieces again. Chess 24 wants to kill me, I guess. So what I need now is a game with white pieces. Instead, I have to protect myself against Mike. Let's play d6. Let's play Philidor. And bishop to e7. Preparing castling and then something active in the center. h3, one of the possibilities here indeed. I hope it's with the idea of playing g4. Area 51 says, I challenged 1 minute against Ostrovskiy. I don't play 1 minute. Like, sometimes I do play 1 minute, but not in a Banter Blitz show, come on. The question, Andrey, do you also play the old Indian against d4? No. I don't really play Philidor. It's just a choice for Blitz. I used to play Philidor when I was a kid, but then I just switched to normal knight to c6 stuff. Okay, let's play a6 here. Maybe preparing b5, maybe not. We'll see. a4. Have no idea. c5, knight c6. Normally you play something like that when you already have rook e8 and bishop f8 played. But knight to f3. Okay. Let's keep on developing pieces. Yes, my d5 is weak now. I hope to compensate that with some pressure against e4 and maybe even c2, because that's the point behind playing a6 in Philidor of this direction when white castles short. So to weaken b4 squares so that knight can jump there, and then something like d5. But all of this is about the position of the bishop on e2. Here it is on d3, so it changes the stuff to some extent. But we'll see. Maybe we can apply all that ideas to that position, of that position to this one as well. Let's see. Knight to d5. That's interesting. Can we use this now? So just knight e5, e5, knight b4, bishop to c4. For example, we can bring the bishop to f5, attacking c2. c3 then. Knight jumps to c2, let's say. Rook goes away somewhere. I don't see how my knight is going to survive it on c2, honestly. Oh, interesting. What to do now? If we play bishop to f8. There's just bishop g5, terrible for black. Yeah, it's hard now. So I don't want to go with the bishop to f8. I can play h6, of course. I can also play bishop to e6. Maybe bishop e6 is the choice for us here. But then c4 comes. Yeah. Not so great. But we don't have a choice, I believe. It's like knight e7, knight e5 in case of c4 maybe played. Then fighting for d4 square. And what is this? This gives me a chance to take on d5 twice. There is bishop h7 though, takes on d5 with the queen. So like knight to b4 attacking that queen. I'm playing something like d5 quickly after that. Yeah, I probably should try it. Maybe I'm missing something there, though. I don't have enough time to calculate the things properly. So should I or shouldn't I? Let's play h6. So I prevent bishop g5. So basically I'm ready to play bishop f8 if I want. And I also prevent bishop h7. So now I definitely want to take on d5. All right. So c4 may be a threat, maybe not immediately, but at some point we want to centralize another rook, and then maybe to play d5 at the right moment. Something like that comes to mind. Yeah, you know, guys, closer to the end of the week, it's getting really hard for me to survive this stuff. Really, I have to think about it and to find a way to be in a much better form. I mean, I work a lot, but it's not an excuse, right? That's what I wanted to play, knight to e5 at some point. It doesn't really help me, honestly. Well, in this case, we have some tricks, I believe. Something like that. Bishop on g3 is not protected, so f5 is bad for white, I guess. Which means we're finally getting a decent position, right? Or once again, I'm just too optimistic about the perspectives of this position. But for now, it looks not bad. For now, it looks even good, I'd say. The question is how to prevent f5, right? Probably just g6. Oh gosh, bishop goes to h4. Oh! My position is so weak. Ouch. Don't like it anymore. Bishop f5 was possible, but I was not sure what to do after bishop h4 followed by g4. Yeah. So probably I have to sacrifice an exchange here because I feel like I don't have time to do anything else. So let's just try it. Maybe white will not even take it. But if white captures, then probably I have good defending chances here. Because there is no dark squared bishop anymore to checkmate me easily on the king side. Position is still not that open, so should be fine here. Takes b2 attacking the knight on d2. A bit strange decision to me. Maybe I'm losing my queen here. I don't know. Maybe I missed something terrible. But I can see a target on d3. Maybe I'm going to lose on time. Also absolutely possible scenario. All right, let's take that one. So 19 seconds only. Oops, that's the rook. I mean, I understand it was a mouse. Bleep, sleep, call it whatever you want. Rook takes b7 was probably planned. Yeah, life is pain, I know. Super lucky, but already after actually grabbing so many pawns, I was pretty confident about my position. So, I mean, of course, not blundering, but handing the rook like this was not necessary. But even after rook takes b7, position is no longer that simple. So black has great blockading potential here. Maybe even bishop takes d3 is possible, but I would doubt it because of e6. So I would have played something like knight of 8, I believe, just controlling that square sufficiently to create this threat. And by the way, I have just one pawn, right, as a compensation, as a material compensation for a missing exchange. But I mean, the pawn structure is good for black here. So it's not so simple for white to convert the extra material here, right? Okay. Nevertheless, thanks for the game. Identity. Accept. I'm playing with white pieces, right, before. Okay, Koval is just, yeah, watching me and all my comments. Indeed, knight to b3 in that line would have been good for white. Maybe then d4 or something, or maybe something else. I don't know. Maybe c4 followed by knight c5 also deserves attention for black. Maybe, I'm not sure. So that position requires some analysis. But indeed, if knight f8, then knight b3. Tactically, well, strategically, knight f8 is a good idea. Tactically, it fails. Nice. Queen was hanging. Where it was hanging? Prob knight says queen was hanging. Where? At which moment? At which point? Bishop to b5 check here. At least that's why black usually plays a6 prior to playing e5. To prevent this. Let me remember. Just takes there. And moves the knight to f5. That's the idea. So we have exchanged light squared bishops. And the plan is simple, just to bring the knight to d5 gradually. And through f5 it can go to e3 and then to d5 eventually. Let's see. Taking on d7 with the queen is a bit more interesting because in that case, after knight f5, there is knight takes c4. And knight takes g7, I know, but position is double-edged there. Here, I believe white should be better. It's not that super big advantage, but nevertheless, pretty pleasant position with the simple plan to follow. Knight to b6. All right, now, bishop to g5, the first move that comes to my mind, and probably it's just fine. Pinning the knight, and hands fighting for d5 square, right? Come on. Just a pawn. Thanks. This simplifies the task. So king f8. Knight f5, probably just going back. The same, but lost position for black. And then simply queen f3. And I don't see how to protect that knight to be what? I wanted to say to be honest, but I've just realized that I've said this to be honest so many times tonight that someone may doubt if I'm really honest. I'm saying that so many times. Right now, that's what I was talking about. Let's just bring the queen to f3. Intended knight e7 and bishop f6. What to do? This doesn't prevent me from doing it, so I'll definitely take. It's also possible just to take on e7 and play knight d5, which is probably even easier. But when you have an absolutely winning position, I mean, there are usually many different ways to the goal. Right. This one is not worse than anything else, I believe. Same result. What is Henning? C2. Do I care? No. It's possible to play queen b3 and then queen takes b7. Oh, this looks convincing. Let's just do it. The knight is under attack. Want to take on b7 to get closer to e7 square and so on. Gio here. Hello. Queen takes b7. Knight to a5. What I wanted to play was bishop e7 followed by knight f6, but now I see that there is a g7 square. Well, I can play queen e7, knight e7, also good. Queen takes a7 is possible. Have no idea. It's just good enough for me. Again, maybe I'm just missing something really simple, but after bishop e7, there's king to g7 move. Okay. Here we go. What? Not clear to me, but doesn't matter. So now we have extra rook and extra piece, which is more than enough to win the game. Let's just castle because it's time. I love these positions when I can castle it somewhere, you know, in the ending already. Take there, not to take there, no. We're greedy here in this game. We're just collecting stuff. Oh, I think it's time to resign for black, no? I mean, would be a good decision. So now we get one more piece. Okay, let's sacrifice the bishop. Positional sacrifice of the bishop on g5. So, Let us try to checkmate black. And by the way, it's pretty simple now, I guess. So where is our checkmate? Rook to d6 forces black to move the pawn. And then what? Then we can just push the a pawn, right? Because if black plays king to f8, then rook to d8 wins. Kind of waiting. We're waiting before black's pawn's moves are all made. So black is losing all the pawns, and now king f8 is forced, which leads to a rook d8 checkmate. I know it's not the most efficient way to win the game, but I have noticed that and decided to follow this direction. All right. So what was wrong with black's ideas here in this game? Well, basically, black just played e5. I mean, it's not a losing move, but it's not very good. After knight to f5, I suppose, taking on d7 with that knight is wrong, I guess. Queen to d7 is correct. So that knight goes to c6. Black tries to play d5 as soon as possible. That's the way to play it. And as I said, here it's possible to capture that pawn. White usually takes there, then knight captures on e4. And this is not so clear a position. I mean, after d5, let's say, knight can go to g3 with the idea of knight h5 or something, but maybe black is okay here. I don't know. Was always too lazy to learn this theory, okay? All right, guys. So I guess you have noticed that already, that I'm almost sleeping. That's because I'm super tired. I hope something was useful during this episode. Maybe you've learned some new patterns. Especially at the beginning of the show, it was actually not so bad. But then at some point, I kind of lost the power to make decisions and started playing badly. Sorry for that. So as I said, I should find some sort of solution to being so super tired, especially closer to the end of the week. We will see how it works. I wish you all the best for the coming weekend, and see you next week with the Training Tuesday on Tuesday for premium users only, and with the Banter Blitz on Thursday. Take care. Bye-bye.